Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For this week's video I wanted to do something a little bit different and kind of talk about the car a little bit and sort of what my ideal goals are and kind of where we've come from and stuff like that. So I initially purchased the car in 2002 as a teenager in high school. I didn't have the money to do things correctly, and getting the car from a buddy, you hear all the rumors about rotaries, about how they rev to the moon and you can do anything with them, they're unstoppable, all this stuff. So you get pretty hyped up as kind of the way things would go. I believed all the rumors as well, so I thought, these things are unstoppable and you can't hurt them. So that turns out not to be the case. Rotaries are quite temperamental. They can be reliable, but you have a higher cost per mile of maintenance kind of thing with rotary engines. So anyways, the car, like I said, was purchased in 2002. I was in the Army at the time, and I did a lot of travel, and so the car ended up sitting and just didn't get worked on, and I deployed to the Middle East in 2004. Came back in 2005, and when I came back I had intentions to work on it, but instead I got into a motorcycle accident. I broke both my wrists, and so the car kind of just sat in storage and I didn't get a chance to work on it. Fast forward a bunch of years, and the car has traveled from storage unit to storage unit, from Washington State to California to back to Washington State, and in 2014 I decided, okay, it's time to start working on this thing. So I had sourced another couple of housings and some intermediate plate and some porting templates, and decided to go ahead and have a go at that. So I followed a racing beat template for a street port and took my time doing that, so I think I did a pretty good job. Got myself a rebuild kit with some ALS seals. They seem to be doing all right. Since then, I have gone with a eBay turbo, eBay suspension, eBay sway bars, eBay everything, and it kind of you get what you pay for a lot of times, and this is no different. So with the eBay purchases, a lot of problems just kind of ensued, because a lot of the stuff you get from eBay is just copies of copies, sometimes copies of the original, and just the specs aren't there. These original manufacturers generally have a specific goal in mind with the parts, and it's not just profit. They're trying to achieve a performance goal, or some type of spring rate, or one of these things that make the car perform better. The eBay route, while sometimes you can get lucky, a lot of the times you're just going to find things that people are trying to sell because it looks like the original. So I've been since going through the car and just kind of getting rid of that. So in 2014 I rebuilt the motor. Everything got assembled, and after I started kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do for an ECU, I didn't really want to spend all the money on, say, a Haltech or maybe a Mega Squirt or any of these things. So I was just kind of stuck, and I didn't know what I wanted to do or how I was going to go about that, and I didn't know if I had the knowledge necessary to do these things. So the block was assembled, and then it just went right back into storage. So it sat for years and years and years. In 2020, I decided I was going to go ahead and start working on this thing, so I started looking for ECUs, and I was able to stumble across Adaptronic, and that's when I purchased this. The eMod, I think it's the 0009, and honestly, I've been pretty happy with it. This is my first venture into standalone, and it's done, what it needs to. The whole point was that it was plug and play, so I could worry about getting the car to perform and have the fuel ratios I was looking for without having to worry so much about, is my pinout correct. And now that I'm a little bit more experienced with that, I think, hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have gone with a little bit higher tier of a product, just for the simple fact that this company, although the product seems fine to me, has definitely some drawbacks. One, they're no longer in business. They were purchased by Haltech in 2022 or 2023, and so you can't get any support. The website doesn't work. All the instructional videos that were on Andy's website are no longer available as part of the Adaptronic part. I'm sure that somewhere there's a repository, maybe on YouTube, but I haven't found it. So there becomes a kind of a roadblock, and as far as that's concerned, because you're just chipping away at these progressions, these milestones that you're trying to make. You know, get the car to idle, get the car to go down the road, get the car to stop bucking when you have your tip in. These different things that you want to program out. So it was a huge learning curve. Let's see. So my goals for the car are somewhere between maybe 350 and 400 horsepower. I have parts that I think should suit a 400 horsepower car, but I'll probably detune a bit. I would like to do some drifting. I would like to do some kind of just like in the cone stuff and then drive the car home. There are some components to the car that now that I've got them on there, I kind of wish I would have maybe rethought about those a little bit, because you get really hyped up about some of these things, like, you know, lightened flywheels and suspension components and things like that. So I've wasted a lot of money and a lot of time with these cheaper components, and in the end I ended up purchasing the better stuff anyways. So I'd highly recommend anybody that's wanting to go down this road, save your money for stuff that's tried and true, do your research, and find stuff that is suitable for the application that you want, and be realistic about it. I might have thought that when I was building the car initially that I wanted a 700 horsepower car that doesn't have AC, and it doesn't matter how it idles, and it doesn't matter how the response is, and it can have turbo lag for 6 days, and none of these things matter. Well, in reality, most of us are probably not going to drive our car at the track every single time. Rotary engines are probably also maybe a second best choice to doing drag racing. Although you can make these things for that, it really takes away from the drivability sometimes. So you got to kind of really come to terms with what it is you want to do with the car. And as I've aged, my goals have kind of changed as well. So 10 years ago, I wanted an all-out blast to drive. Didn't need to take it anywhere. Could trailer it anywhere. Trailer queen, garage queen. Doesn't go to the store unless it's there's a car event going on, because it's going to be too loud and I'm going to get pulled over everywhere. Now I'd more or less like something that is going to suit my daily driving habits of kind of putting around from here to there, and then maybe go to a road course, maybe go to a autocross event, maybe go to a car show. I'd like it to sound good but not be obnoxious. I'd like to be able to get on the throttle and get that smile on my face when the turbo kicks in, but not also not have to wait for an hour and a half for it to spool up. So some of the purchases that I've made may not seem like full out race car, and they're not, but I think the car will prove in the long run to be more tailored to what I'm looking for. So with that being said, I'd kind of like to show off some of the stuff that I've purchased and kind of go over what my intentions are. So okay, now that I'm not staring into the camera and I can breathe again, I figure we can go through these parts kind of one by one, see what kind of things we got, and I don't know, you guys can kind of see where my head is when it comes to what my goals are here. So like I said, somewhere between 350 400 horse for now with this block. We shall see. So there's some of the parts in here may get changed out, may not get installed. This is just sort of stuff that I've been collecting over the last 15 years. So some things are better than others, and the actual install may vary. So first off, I guess we'll start with the intercoolers. I believe this is a 2-inch and this is a 2.5 as far as the inlet and outlet sizes. This one kind of, I don't know, this one just sort of seems to me like the one to go with because of the smaller size. I don't know that I'm going to be running enough boost to create the heat that's going to be required for something this large, but I'm not going to lie, I feel like this would look pretty darn cool inside the front bumper. So it'll all just depend on how things go when I start working on that part of the project. So intercoolers. Those are the two that I have currently to trial. So looks probably pretty inefficient. I'm not sure. If neither of these pan out, there's always purchasing a real one. I've had these for probably 10 years. Okay, so as you guys have already seen, we are doing the Adaptronic. What I like about this is the fact that built right onto the back side, you have manifold absolute pressure and your exhaust pressure built right in. Next up, we have fuel. So I've been using injector dynamics on my build, and so I have injector dynamics 1050 primaries and 1750 secondaries. I'm going to be using this, I believe Walbro is now TI Automotive. So this is that. I believe this would be like a Walbro 400. Okay. I'm using the Injector Dynamics pretty small micron fuel filter in conjunction with the stock filter for now. My tank sat for a long time, and so I've been running just both filters for a while. I replaced the stock one, and then I run this as well, just to really try to clean up the fuel before it goes in. This is the install kit for the fuel pump. I've been using a lot of the AN fittings from Evil Energy. They're like an Amazon kind of special, but they seem to work pretty good. I haven't had any leaks or any problems. Decently priced, and I've had good luck with it so far. And then this is just a total 6AN Teflon tube fuel line kit. So I'm pretty excited about this one. This is my new alternator. From DC Power. Oops. It's kind of a beast. I believe it's 150 amp, 170, something like that. It's about twice or three times what the stock alternator is. So should not have any issues with power and current draw. Got some brand new motor mounts, the Mazda OEM ones for FC3S, so anybody that wants to know. For that transmission that I just rebuilt, I got the OEM shift boot, brand new. Should look pretty good. I'm going to be installing this flex fuel sensor, which should allow me to run E85 or any type of ethanol really, and I believe it does temperature and alcohol content, so that it'll just send that signal back to the computer and adjust fuel ratios depending on the level of alcohol. So on my first video, one of the thumbnails I posted that I was going to be doing AC upgrades. So this is a parallel flow condenser that I'm going to use to do my own custom AC, and this should cool significantly more than the stock condenser, which I'm not an AC expert, but as far as I've been told and as far as online people say, the stock condenser is hardly adequate. So, and for this, I hope this turns out to be as good as I was sort of led to believe here, because I waited almost a year for this, and if it does like I want to, it's supposed to be really, really responsive. So if you can picture the turbo that you saw in the other videos, this is quite significantly smaller on the compressor side, at least. The hot side with the twin scrolls. This is a BorgWarner 7670. It feels just absolutely smooth. It's got rather small outlet, and it has the mounting for turbo speed sensor, which is not what I'm going to be putting in here. So I have the sensor itself. The sensor didn't come with a plug, which was kind of annoying. And then I ordered the plug separately, and it looked like one that I probably already have on my shelf. So that was a little different. I got myself a Funk Motorsport turbo blanket. This is supposed to be for internal wastegated turbos, so hopefully this meets my needs. It feels good. I haven't taken it out of the bag, no need yet, but I thought it was really pretty. Along with the turbo, I got the Shorty blow-off valve, little guy. So that should be pretty cool. Make some cool noises. This is the Turbo Source wastegate with a couple of different springs. So, got those to play with. Looks like we got a gray, a pink, and a black. Got my push rods. I also received the oil line and water line install kit, so that should help to route the coolant and the oil where it needs to go with a little bit of pizzazz to it. I think it looks pretty nice. Along with that, we have the Innovate Motorsports thermal kit. So I will be able to monitor my exhaust gas temperatures. So to mount the turbo up, we are going to be using Turbo Source's investment cast manifold. And these pyro sensors will sit here and here. So I'll get true each individual rotor temperatures. So these guys will just plug right in there. So it'll be nice. Along with the turbo, turbo, they sent this stainless downpipe. Looks decent. It's already got the O2 sensor bung on there, which is nice. Nothing too special. This is something that I've kind of been forced into doing. I don't really know if I'm going to have to use this or not, but this water meth injection system is kind of one of my only options due to the lack of E85 available around here and the very limited supply of higher octane racing fuels. Anything above 92 in Washington State seems to be pretty hard to get. So I've gone ahead and at least purchased this so that I can tune for higher boosts and then turn it back down when I don't have methanol. So this is sort of my insurance policy, so I can tune the car and then use it when I'm racing, because otherwise it's just kind of a waste. But if I can get E85, then I will be going that route, because this is a lot of stuff and it takes up a rather large amount of real estate. There's not a lot of free space available in these engine bays to mount, you know, a giant box like this. And I don't know that I necessarily want it where the spare tire goes or in one of the boxes, or I don't know how this is going to work yet. So it's the full install kit with the controller, the wiring loom, and the rather large pump. So we will go that route if I can't source E85, but it's looking like that. So rotaries do not like knock, and this is sort of the only way that I could, you know, we'll call it cheaply, effectively have a anti-knock solution, because I don't want to blow this motor up because of my lack of attention to detail. I picked up some HPS coolant tube hoses to replace the stock ones. Blue sort of being my theme, so these should look pretty good in there. New dryer for the HVAC. And then finally, I went with the stock replacement coil rad. And, you know, these don't get the best reviews online, but I will say I think it's beautiful. It just looks really good to me. So, pretty stoked to have this. It's just a really pretty piece to have in the car. So, anyways, guys, that's all that I really have for this week's video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you guys kind of get an idea of where I'm going with the vehicle. I know this isn't the most entertaining stuff to see, and I'll tell you what, it's been years that I've been collecting these parts, just like one piece at a time. So I think the overall end goal of the car is going to be achieved, and I think it's going to look pretty good, and it should drive really well. So stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.